Hello everyone, this is The Breakdown back again with another MCU movie review video. In today's video, I'll be talking about Captain America, the First Avenger. This movie is alright as a whole. Most of the people remember this movie from when Steve Rogers gets his powers forward, and I understand that. This movie tried to put a lot in a 2-hour movie, and I'll be elaborating on that issue later on in the video, but for now, we'll leave it at that. Spoiler alert for the people who haven't seen this movie, and with that in mind, let's get started. Captain America, the First Avenger had a lot of good in this movie from the beginning. This movie created the most important character we know and love in the MCU today. Chris Evans steals the show because he's such a great actor in this movie with some memorable moments. And let's remember that the first movie he did as a superhero was not very good movie in my opinion. He played Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four movie back in 2005, so yeah, that says it all. A lot from the first act is pretty relatable because of the underdog story from Steve Rogers. His whole motivation of the whole movie is to fight in the war. This movie is the one that seems most realistic aside from the super soldier serum and all. I also like the idea that they address the Tesseract from the post-credit scene in Thor, and it's the thing that drives the plot. It also connects the dots between Thor and Captain America. The action sequences in this movie seem pretty good for a movie that is set in the 1940s. I didn't expect to see explosions every other scene, and I think the movie delivered with the right amount of effects to make it a good superhero movie. But on top of all that, the last 30 seconds of this movie might be my favorite part of this movie. If you've seen this movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. To this date, the last line from Steve Rogers still gets to me.
I had a date.
Now, let's talk about the ugly stuff, or the bad stuff if you may. Right from the get-go, I'll say that Red Skull might not have been the best choice of villain. Yeah, sue me if you have to, but you won't change my mind. In my opinion, and I just looked this up, Master Man is a better villain for me in this movie. I've never heard of this villain before, ever, but just imagine a Captain America but evil, with the same abilities and all, but part of the Nazis. I know it sounds silly when I say it, but imagine a fight between Captain America and an evil Captain America, aka Master Man. It would be interesting. No hate to Red Skull, but he just seemed too easy of an opponent to Captain America in the movie. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot to mention Arnim Zola. Yeah, he's in this movie, but just less exciting and more forgettable. Instead of Arnim Zola from the comics, we get this boring adaptation of this iconic villain in the Captain America comics. We get a slightly better adaptation of this character in the next Captain America, but that's a topic for another video. Aside from the Red Skull and Arnim Zola, CGI Steve Rogers from the first act makes me cringe every time I see him. Forget about Dwayne Johnson in The Mummy, this is just as bad. I get that they try to make him look skinny and all, and stuff, but please add a little bit more effort to it, please. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, I said that this movie tried to fit a lot in a 2-hour movie. The first act takes about 30 to 45 minutes to tell the story of how Steve Rogers got his powers, which for me is too long. Instead, just make it like a 10 to 20 minute flashback to not take a whole lot from the movie. The second and third act is about 1 hour and 15 minutes, which isn't a whole lot of time in my opinion. All of this rushes things and leaves the audience wanting more. The final fight in the movie is pretty underwhelming because the whole movie is building up the hype to the fight between Cap and Red Skull. In the end, we get a couple punches until Red Skull dies and Cap as well. So yeah, the flow in this movie wasn't very well to put into words. The Stan Lee cameo in this movie is forgettable and has very little to remember. I even forgot Captain America had a Stan Lee cameo, to be honest. The same goes to the post-credit scene. the whole post-credit scene in this, it's just Steve Rogers and Nick Fury talking for 20 seconds, which isn't very appealing. In the end, most of the negative factors I mentioned don't take a lot away from this movie. I still enjoy this movie for what it is. It's just I would have loved to see more improvement on this film because I know this movie wasn't made to its fullest potential. The rating for this movie will be a 7 out of 10 due to the boring villains, CGI Steve Rogers, Stanley cameo, and post-credit scene. But some parts are still good, such as Chris Evans as Captain America, the plot of the movie, and some action sequences. So yeah, this is my review for Captain America, the First Avenger. Do you guys agree with my thoughts on this movie? Leave your opinions down in the description. Follow me on Twitter at TheBreakdown12. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with my content. Make sure to check out my other MCU related videos on the channel. I am The Breakdown signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.